A Russian activist named Vitaly Votanovsky, who documented Russia's war defeat in Ukraine, was forced to flee the country. He chose to flee after authorities opened 2 criminal cases against him. "I have left Russia. I am starting a new life," Telegram news channel VCHKOGPU said Thursday, quoting Vitaly Votanovsky about his departure from Russia. Vitaly Votanovsky is a military veteran from the southern city of Krasnodar, Russia. He was one of the first military bloggers to discover and publish information about a special burial site for Wagner mercenaries killed in Ukraine to his more than 3,000 subscribers on Telegram. The activists discovered a total of 1,400 graves of Wagner fighters in the Krasnodar and Adygea regions. His investigation helps uncover the identities of soldiers recruited by Wagner's mercenary group, including foreign nationals. Material published by Votanovsky also sparked a public row between Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin and local officials in the Krasnodar region last month, who apparently banned burial of Wagner fighters in local cemeteries. Vitaly Votanovsky has been repeatedly detained for photographing graves and speaking out against Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He was also forced to pay several administrative fines for violating Russia's wartime censorship laws. However, the latest charges against him include discrediting the Russian army and collaborating with an unwanted organization. Under Russian law, Vitaly Votanovsky could face up to 5 years in prison in Russia. Vitaly Votanovsky has said he plans to take up residence in an EU country, but vowed to return to Russia after the regime change. Veterans against Russia's war in Ukraine in October 2022, Vitaly Votanovsky, who is a retired Russian Air Force with the rank of lieutenant colonel, is involved in political activities in the city of Krasnodar, Russia. He was repeatedly arrested for photographing the graves of Russian soldiers who died. Putin destroyed the country's military mobilization resources with his own hands, and now this fool has entered into a war with the whole world, said Vitaly Votanovsky. He created conditions where we couldn't win, he said, quoted by the Moscow Times. "We, veterans, all talk and discuss what is going on," said Nikolai Prokudin, 61, a veteran of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, who opposes the war in Ukraine. "There are people with views identical to mine, others less radical, but most people are fooled by propaganda," he told the Moscow Times. Nikolai Prokudin co-authored a petition last year against the escalation of the war in Ukraine with fellow veteran Sergei Gulyayev, who served as a Soviet intelligence officer in Afghanistan. Although many Russian veterans refused to sign the petition, Sergei Gulyayev did not remove his signature from the petition. He remembered the Soviet soldiers who came from Ukraine who saved his life when they served in Afghanistan. The son of a Ukrainian soldier died defending Donetsk airport from an attack by Russian-backed separatists in 2014. Gulyayev found out about this during a 2016 reunion with veterans of the Afghanistan war, which was held in Belarus. Several Russian veterans have been fined for speaking out under a wartime censorship law passed in March 2022. In fact, Russia also prosecutes veterans who discredit its military. Western countries can't lecture China on Ukraine. Western countries do not have the right to give instructions to China regarding its relationship with Russia and its attitude towards the Ukraine conflict. This statement was made by the Chinese ambassador to Russia, Zhang Hanhui. Quoted from the Russia Today page, Friday, Zhang was also asked about the United States, US, and its allies putting pressure on China in the middle of the battle in Ukraine. During his interview with the Russian newspaper Izvestia this Friday, he said that the West claims China is supporting Russia. It was not the Chinese side that created the Ukraine crisis. China is not a party to it and has not provided weapons to either party to the conflict. The West is not in a position to give instructions to China. Moreover, it does not have the authority to convey responsibility for it, said Zhang. In his opinion, China does not have its own interests in the Ukrainian issue. China did not add fuel to the fire, did not seize the moment to benefit from the crisis, said Zhang. Instead, Chinese authorities have consistently called for a political settlement since fighting began in Ukraine, more than a year ago. "We will continue to stand for peace, dialogue, and historical justice," Zhang said. On the issue of relations between China and Russia, He noted that President Xi Jinping had described strengthening relations with Russia as a strategic option for China during a visit to Russia last month. Based on the fundamental interests and general trends of world development, it cannot be changed or shaken by one moment's events. History shows that China and Russia relations can overcome the challenges of the changing international environment because the neighbors have found the right way of coexistence, Xi said at the time. Zhang also spoke of attempts by some countries to use the Taiwan issue to earn dividends in their relations with China against the backdrop of the Ukraine crisis. The essence of the Taiwan and Ukraine problems is very different. Taiwan is an inalienable part of China, and this matter is purely the internal affairs of the Chinese nation, which does not accept any external interference, Zhang said. Please note, Taiwan has been self-governing since 1949, but has never officially declared independence from China. China regards the island as part of its territory and strongly opposes any contact between Taiwan and the US, which supports Taiwan's sovereignty and vows to protect the island militarily. President of Ukraine confirms attendance of G7 Hiroshima Japan summit online. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, promised Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida that he will participate in the G7 summit meeting in Hiroshima next May online. Zelensky has promised to attend the G7 summit meeting in Hiroshima next May via online Wednesday. It is known that Prime Minister Kishida visited Ukraine and held a summit meeting with President Zelensky yesterday evening, Ukrainian time, and returned to Poland on the morning of March 22, 2023 by train from Kiev. In a joint press conference, Japan announced it would provide Ukraine with non-lethal equipment. In addition, President Zelensky announced his intention to participate in the G7 Hiroshima summit online. President Zelensky of Ukraine posted a message on his Twitter and welcomed PM Kishida's visit to Ukraine. I am pleased to welcome Prime Minister Kishida, Japan, a strong guardian of the international order and an old friend of Ukraine, to Kyiv, Zelensky wrote on his Twitter account. The 2-minute video released shows Prime Minister Kishida greeting and shaking Zelensky's hand. Then the two of them sat on chairs in a room with Ukrainian and Japanese flags. After that, they took a picture together. In the video, the scene of the meeting between the Ukrainian side and the Japanese side is also shown. During the meeting, the friendly relations between the two countries were emphasized.